Maya had always been grateful for Sophia's friendship. When people asked about their relationship, Sophia would laugh and say, "She's like the sister I never had," and Maya would smile, ignoring the small ache in her chest that she couldn't quite explain. They'd met 3 years ago at a coffee shop near campus, both reaching for the last blueberry muffin. Instead of fighting over it, they'd decided to share it, and somehow that simple gesture had blossomed into an inseparable friendship. Sophia was everything Maya admired: confident, artistic, with wild curly hair that caught the sunlight and a laugh that could fill any room. Maya told herself she was lucky to have such a close friend. She cherished their movie nights, their long walks through the city, the way Sophia would curl up next to her on the couch, unconsciously playing with Maya's hair while they talked about everything and nothing. She treasured the way Sophia's eyes lit up when she saw her, the inside jokes that no one else understood, the comfortable silences that spoke volumes. But lately, something had shifted. Maya found herself studying Sophia's face when she wasn't looking, memorizing the constellation of freckles across her nose, the way her lips curved when she was thinking. She noticed how her heart raced when Sophia touched her arm, how she felt jealous when Sophia talked about dates with guys from her art classes. "You're so lucky to have me as your built-in wing woman," Sophia had said just last week, sprawled across Maya's bed while Maya pretended to study. "I can help you find the perfect guy. Someone who deserves you." Maya had made a non-committal sound, turning back to her textbook to hide her expression. The truth was becoming harder to ignore. She didn't want to find the perfect guy. She wanted Sophia to stop looking at her like a sister and start seeing her as something more. That evening, as they walked along the riverfront after dinner, Sophia slipped her arm through Maya's like she always did. The gesture was so natural, so familiar, but tonight it sent electricity through Maya's entire body. She watched Sophia point out the reflection of the city lights on the water, animated and beautiful, and realized with startling clarity that she was in love with her best friend. The revelation should have been terrifying, but instead, it felt like finally understanding a language she'd been hearing her whole life without recognizing. Every shared glance, every casual touch, every moment of connection suddenly made sense. She wasn't just grateful for Sophia's friendship, she was completely, hopelessly in love with her. As they reached Maya's apartment, Sophia hugged her goodnight, holding on a little longer than usual. "You're the best thing in my life, you know that?" she whispered against Maya's ear. Maya closed her eyes, breathing in Sophia's familiar scent of vanilla and paint thinner. "You too," she managed, her voice barely steady. That night, Maya lay awake staring at the ceiling, finally understanding the ache she'd carried for so long. The next few weeks were torture. Maya found herself hyper-aware of everything Sophia did, the way she bit her lip when concentrating on a painting, how she unconsciously sought out Maya's hand when they walked together, the soft smile she reserved just for her. Maya began to wonder if she was imagining things or if there was something deeper in Sophia's touches, something more meaningful in her lingering glances. The breaking point came during one of their regular Saturday morning brunches. They sat in their usual corner booth at the little cafe where they'd first met, sharing pancakes and coffee while Sophia complained about her latest dating disaster. "I swear, Maya, men are impossible," Sophia sighed, stabbing at her strawberries with unnecessary force. "Derek spent the entire date talking about his cryptocurrency investments. And when I tried to tell him about my art, he actually said, 'That's cute, but what's your real career plan?'" Maya made appropriate sympathetic noises while internally celebrating another failed date. She hated herself for feeling that way, but she couldn't help it. "Maybe you're looking in the wrong places," Maya suggested carefully. "Or maybe you're looking for the wrong thing entirely." Sophia looked up, fork halfway to her mouth. "What do you mean?" Maya's heart hammered against her ribs. This was her chance to hint, to test the waters, to see if her feelings might be reciprocated. But as she looked into Sophia's trusting brown eyes, her courage failed her. "Nothing," she said quickly. "Just that you deserve someone who sees how amazing you are." Sophia reached across the table and squeezed Maya's hand. "This is why I love you. You always know exactly what to say." The word love hung in the air between them, and Maya wondered if Sophia could hear how her breath caught, if she noticed how Maya's fingers trembled slightly under hers. Later that afternoon, they were in Sophia's art studio, a converted garage behind her apartment that smelled of turpentine and possibility. Maya loved watching Sophia work, loved seeing her completely in her element. Today, Sophia was putting finishing touches on a series of paintings she'd been working on for months. "Can I finally see them?" Maya asked. Sophia had been mysteriously secretive about this particular series, always covering the canvases. When Maya came by, Sophia hesitated, paintbrush suspended in midair. "They're personal. Since when do we keep secrets from each other?" Something flickered across Sophia's face. Uncertainty, fear, longing. Finally, she set down her brush and took a deep breath. "Okay. But promise me that no matter what you see, it won't change anything between us." Maya nodded, though her pulse quickened at the intensity in Sophia's voice. Sophia pulled away the cloth covering her easel, revealing a series of paintings that took Maya's breath away. They were all of the same subject, a woman with dark hair and gentle eyes captured in moments of quiet intimacy, reading by a window, laughing over coffee, sleeping peacefully, morning light soft across her features. It took Maya several seconds to realize she was looking at herself. "Sophia," she whispered, unable to look away from the paintings. In them, she saw herself through Sophia's eyes, beautiful, loved, cherished in ways she'd never imagined. "I know what you're thinking," Sophia said quickly, her voice tight with anxiety. "I know it's weird painting your friend like this. I know you probably think I'm in love with me." Maya interrupted, finally turning to face her. Sophia's face went pale, then flushed deep red. Maya, I can explain." "Good," Maya said, stepping closer. "Because I'd really like to understand how long you've been feeling what I've been feeling." The silence that followed Maya's words stretched between them like a bridge neither was sure they should cross. Sophia stood frozen, paintbrush still, in her hand a drop of cerulean blue trembling at its tip before falling to the floor. "You... what?" Sophia's voice was barely a whisper. Maya's heart was beating so hard she was sure Sophia could hear it echoing in the small studio. She'd crossed a line now, stepped into territory they'd never explored, and there was no going back. The paintings surrounding them seemed to pulse with unspoken truth, evidence of feelings that had been carefully hidden, but never truly secret. "How long, Sophia?" Maya asked again, moving closer, until she could see the flecks of gold in Sophia's brown eyes. "How long have you been painting me like I'm someone you love instead of someone you call your sister?" Sophia's breath came in short, shallow bursts. She set the brush down with shaking hands, leaving a smear of blue across the wooden table. "Since the beginning," she admitted, her voice cracking. "Since that first day when we shared the muffin, and you smiled at me like I was worth knowing. Since every day after that when I told myself I was crazy for feeling this way about my best friend." Maya reached out slowly, giving Sophia time to pull away, but she didn't. Her fingers traced along Sophia's paint-stained knuckles, marveling at how something so simple could feel so momentous. "I thought I was going insane," Maya confessed. "Every time you called me your sister, every time you talked about finding me the perfect guy, I felt like I was drowning, because all I wanted was for you to look at me the way you look at sunsets, like I was something beautiful worth stopping for." "You are," Sophia breathed. "God, Maya, you are. You're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, and I've been terrified that if I told you, I'd lose you completely." They stood there in the late afternoon light filtering through the studio windows, surrounded by canvases that told the story of a love that had grown in secret. Maya could smell the familiar scent of Sophia's perfume, mixed with turpentine and possibility. "What happens now?" Sophia asked, vulnerability written across every feature. Instead of answering with words, Maya closed the remaining distance between them. She cupped Sophia's face in her hands, thumbs brushing across her cheekbones, and leaned in slowly. Sophia's Eyes fluttered closed, and when their lips finally met, it was like coming home to a place Maya hadn't even known she'd been searching for. The kiss was soft at first, tentative, as if they were both afraid the other might disappear. But then Sophia's hands found Maya's waist, pulling her closer, and Maya melted into her embrace. They kissed like they were making up for lost time, like they were speaking a language they'd both been fluent in but never allowed themselves to use. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Sophia rested her forehead against Maya's. "I can't believe this is real," she whispered. "It's real," Maya assured her, still holding her face. "We're real, and I'm never going back to pretending I don't love you." Sophia's eyes filled with tears, but she was smiling brighter than Maya had ever seen. "I love you too. I love you so much it scared me." As the sun began to set outside the studio windows, casting everything in golden light, they held each other close. The paintings around them no longer felt like secrets. They felt like promises. Promises of all the moments they'd share now that the truth was finally free between them. "So," Maya said with a grin, "I guess I'm not your sister after all." Sophia laughed, the sound rich and joyful. "No, definitely not my sister. Something much better." "What's that?" "My everything." The days following their first kiss existed in a bubble of stolen moments and whispered confessions. Maya would catch herself smiling at nothing, remembering the way Sophia's hands felt in her hair, the soft sighs she made when Maya kissed the sensitive spot behind her ear. They were careful at first, uncertain how to navigate this new territory of their relationship. Everything felt different yet exactly the same. They still had their movie nights, but now Maya could curl up against Sophia's side without pretending. It was merely platonic comfort. They still took long walks by the river, but now their fingers intertwined naturally, and Sophia would stop to kiss Maya against lampposts like they were characters in one of the romantic films they loved. But as the initial euphoria began to settle, reality crept in. They hadn't talked about what this meant beyond themselves, how they would handle friends, family, the world outside their private haven of newfound love. The conversation came to a head on a Thursday evening in Maya's apartment. They were cooking dinner together, moving around each other in the small kitchen with an ease born of years of friendship and weeks of new intimacy. Sophia was stirring pasta sauce while Maya chopped vegetables, and for a moment, everything felt perfectly domestic and right. "My mom called today," Sophia said casually, but Maya caught the tension underlying her words. "She's planning to visit next month. She wants to meet the person I've been so happy about lately." Maya's knife paused mid-chop. They'd been so focused on each other that they hadn't discussed how they'd handle the outside world. "What did you tell her?" "Nothing yet," Sophia admitted, turning down the heat under the sauce. "I mean, what do I say? Hey Mom, remember Maya, the friend I always talked about? Well, turns out I'm gay and we're together now." The words hung, heavy in the air. This was their first real conversation about labels, about what they were to each other, and what that meant in the larger context of their lives. Maya set down her knife and turned to face Sophia. "Is that what you want to say, that you're gay?" Sophia was quiet for a long moment, staring into the bubbling sauce. "I don't know," she said finally. Before you, I only dated men. I thought that's just what I did, what I was supposed to do. But looking back now, I realize I was never really happy. I was going through the motions." Maya moved closer, wrapping her arms around Sophia from behind. "There's no rush to figure out labels. You can just be you. We can just be us." Sophia leaned back into Maya's embrace. "What about you? Have you always known?" Maya rested her chin on Sophia's shoulder, thinking. "I think part of me always knew something was different. I had crushes on girls in high school that I convinced myself were just admiration. I dated guys because it seemed expected, but it never felt right. With you, everything just makes sense." They stood there in comfortable silence, the smell of garlic and herbs filling the air around them. Maya thought about all the small moments that had led them here. The way her heart had always raced when Sophia smiled at her, how she'd felt jealous of Sophia's dates without understanding why. The dream she'd had that she'd pushed away. As meaningless, I'm scared, Sophia whispered so quietly Maya almost missed it. Of what? Of losing people, of my family not understanding, of the world being cruel to us. Sophia turned in Maya's arms, her eyes bright with unshed tears. Of losing myself in all of this. Maya cupped Sophia's face gently. You're not losing yourself. You're finding yourself. And as for everyone else, the people who truly love us will want us to be happy. And if they can't handle us being happy together, then maybe they don't deserve to be in our lives. When did you become so wise? Sophia asked with a watery smile. Someone very smart once told me that I deserve someone who sees how amazing I am, Maya replied, echoing Sophia's words from weeks ago. She taught me that love isn't something to hide from, it's something to fight for. Sophia kissed her then, soft and grateful, and full of promise. I want to fight for this, she said, against Maya's lips, for us. I want to be brave enough to tell the world that I love you. We'll figure it out together, Maya assured her. One step at a time. There's no rush. As they finished cooking dinner, they talked about practical things, how to tell their friends, what to say to family members, how to navigate a world that might not always understand their love. But underneath all the planning and worrying, there was something solid and unshakable. They had each other, and that was enough to build everything else upon. That night, as they fell asleep tangled together in Maya's bed, Sophia whispered, I love you, into the darkness, and Maya realized that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they'd already conquered the hardest part, being honest about who they were and what they meant to each other. 3 weeks later, Maya stood in front of her bathroom mirror, adjusting her shirt for the 5th time. Tonight was the night they'd decided to tell their closest friends about their relationship. They'd planned a casual dinner party at Sophia's apartment, inviting the small group of friends who'd been part of their lives for years. You look beautiful, Sophia said from the doorway, and Maya's reflection smiled back at her in the mirror. I'm nervous, Maya admitted, turning to face her girlfriend. The word still sent a thrill through her every time she thought it. Sophia crossed the room and wrapped her arms around Maya's waist. Me too, but we're doing this together, remember? They'd spent hours discussing how to approach the evening. Should they make a formal announcement? Let people figure it out naturally? Tell them individually? In the end, they'd decided to simply be themselves. Affectionate, natural, and honest if anyone asked directly. The first to arrive was Jake, Sophia's friend from art school, followed closely by Emma and Liv, Maya's college roommates. As the evening progressed, Maya found herself relaxing. Their friends were the same as always, funny, warm, completely absorbed in their own conversations and inside jokes. It was Emma who first noticed the change. Maya was helping Sophia bring out dessert when Sophia casually brushed a crumb from Maya's cheek, her fingers lingering for just a moment longer than strictly necessary. Emma's eyes narrowed thoughtfully, but she didn't say anything. The moment of truth came later, when they were all crowded onto Sophia's couch and floor, playing their usual game of ridiculous hypothetical scenarios. Jake was in the middle of describing his elaborate plan for surviving a zombie apocalypse when Liv asked the question they'd been dreading and anticipating all evening. So Maya, whatever happened with that guy from your statistics class? You were supposed to go out with him, right? The room fell quiet, all eyes turning to Maya. She felt Sophia's hand find hers, warm and reassuring. Actually, Maya said, her voice steadier than she'd expected, I'm seeing someone else now. Oh. Liv perked up with interest. Do we know him? What's he like? Maya glanced at Sophia, who squeezed her hand and nodded almost imperceptibly. You know her very well, Maya said softly. It's Sophia. The silence that followed felt like it lasted forever, though it was probably only a few seconds. Maya watched their friends' faces carefully, trying to read their reactions. Emma's expression shifted from confusion to understanding to something that looked almost like relief. Jake blinked several times, processing. Liv's mouth fell open slightly. Wait, Jake said slowly. You mean you two are together? Like together? Yes, Sophia said, finding her voice. We're together. Emma suddenly laughed, a bright, delighted sound. Oh my God, finally. Finally, Maya asked, confused. Are you kidding me? Emma gestured between them. You two have been completely in love with each other for years. We've all been waiting for you to figure it out. We have? Liv asked, still looking stunned. Come on, Liv, Jake chimed in, grinning. Remember last year's Halloween party when Maya spent the entire night glaring at that guy who was hitting on Sophia? Or the way Sophia's whole face lights up whenever Maya walks into a room? It was pretty obvious to everyone except you two. Maya felt her cheeks burning. You all knew? We suspected, Emma said gently. And we hoped. You make each other so happy. It just makes sense. The rest of the evening passed in a blur of questions, laughter, and overwhelming relief. Their friends wanted to know how long they'd been together, how it happened, why they'd kept it secret. Maya and Sophia answered as honestly as they could, marveling at how natural it felt to talk openly about their relationship. As the night wound down and their friends prepared to leave, Emma pulled Maya aside in the kitchen. I'm really happy, for you, she said sincerely. Both of you. I've never seen you look at anyone the way you look at her. Thank you, Maya said, feeling tears prick at her eyes. I was so scared you all would think it was weird, or that it would change our friendships. The only thing that's changed is that you're both finally being honest about who you are, Emma replied. And that's a good thing. After everyone left, Maya and Sophia collapsed onto the couch together, emotionally exhausted but euphoric. That went better than I could have hoped, Sophia said, curling up against Maya's side. Emma was right, Maya mused. We should have given them more credit. One hurdle down, Sophia said softly. Maya knew she was thinking about the bigger challenges ahead. Family members who might not be as understanding, potential discrimination, all the ways the world could be unkind to their love. But tonight, surrounded by the acceptance and joy of their chosen family, those worries felt manageable. Hey, Maya said, tilting Sophia's chin up so she could see her eyes. I love you, all of you. The artist, the dreamer, the woman who's brave, enough to paint her feelings and share them with the world. I love you too, Sophia whispered back. My best friend, my partner, my everything. As they held each other close, Maya realized that coming out wasn't just about telling other people who they were. It was about finally, fully accepting themselves. 6 months later, Maya woke up to the smell of coffee and the sound of Sophia humming in the kitchen of their new shared apartment. Sunlight streamed through the windows, illuminating boxes they still hadn't unpacked and casting everything in, a warm golden glow. They'd moved in together the month before after Sophia's lease expired, and they realized they were spending every night together anyway. Maya's parents had visited 2 weeks ago, her mother immediately pulling Sophia into a hug and telling her she'd been hoping Maya would find someone who makes her smile like this. Her father had been quieter but kind, asking Sophia thoughtful questions about her art and making sure she felt welcome in their family. Sophia's parents had been a more complicated story. Her mother had needed time to adjust, asking careful questions and working through her own assumptions about her daughter's life. But love had won in the end. It always seemed to, when people were given enough time and space to let it. Her father had simply said, "If she makes you happy, Mija, then she makes us happy too." Maya padded into the kitchen wearing one of Sophia's paint-splattered t-shirts, finding her girlfriend dancing slightly to music only she could hear while she made breakfast. "Good morning, beautiful," Sophia said, turning to kiss Maya's cheek. "I made your coffee exactly how you like it. Too much cream and not enough coffee according to civilized people." "Hey, my coffee preferences are perfectly civilized," Maya protested, accepting the mug gratefully. "What's all this?" She gestured to the elaborate spread of pancakes, fruit, and what looked like homemade whipped cream. "We're celebrating. Sophia announced, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Celebrating what? Sophia pulled an envelope from behind the coffee maker, practically vibrating with joy. I got into the gallery show. The curator loved the series I painted of you. She said they were some of the most emotionally honest portraits she'd ever seen. Maya nearly dropped her coffee mug. She'd known Sophia had submitted her work to a prestigious local gallery, but they'd been waiting weeks to hear back. Sophia, that's incredible. I'm so proud of you. She wrapped Sophia in a fierce hug, spinning her around the small kitchen while Sophia laughed with delight. When Maya set her down, she kept her arms around her waist, looking into the face she'd grown to love more each day. You know what this means, right? Maya asked, grinning. The whole city is going to see how you look at me. Good, Sophia said firmly. I want everyone to see how much I love you. I want to shout it from rooftops. Please don't actually shout from rooftops. I don't have good enough health insurance to cover your inevitable fall. Sophia laughed, pulling Maya in for a proper kiss. I love you, you practical, wonderful woman. I love you too, you talented, ridiculous artist. As they ate breakfast, Sophia chattered excitedly about the gallery opening, the other artists who'd be featured, what she should wear, whether Maya thought her parents would be able to come. Maya listened with the contentment of someone who'd found their place in the world, not just with Sophia but with herself. Their love hadn't solved everything. They still had days when the world felt hostile, when they encountered people who didn't understand or approve. Maya still sometimes felt self-conscious holding Sophia's hand in public, and Sophia still occasionally worried about her art career being affected by her sexuality. But they'd learned that love wasn't about avoiding challenges. It was about facing them together. What are you thinking about? Sophia asked, noticing Maya's thoughtful expression. Just this. Us. How different everything is from a year ago. Different how? Maya considered the question seriously. A year ago, I was pretending to be someone I wasn't, and I was miserable even though I didn't really understand why. I thought there was something wrong with me because I couldn't make myself feel what I was supposed to feel for anyone. And now? Now I know there was never anything wrong with me. I was just waiting for you. Maya reached across the table to take Sophia's hand. I was waiting to understand that love isn't something you force yourself into. It's something you recognize when you find it. Sophia's eyes grew misty. You know, when I used to call you my sister, part of me was trying to convince myself that's all you could ever be. I thought if I said it enough, I could make it true and stop wanting more. And now? Now I know that family isn't just about who you're related to. It's about who you choose. Who chooses you back? Who you build a life with? Sophia smiled, radiant and sure. You're still my family, Maya. Just the family I chose, not the family I was trying to settle for. Later that evening, as they unpacked another box in their living room, Maya found herself thinking about all the versions of herself she'd been over the years. The confused teenager who couldn't understand why her friends' crushes on boys felt foreign to her. The college student who went through the motions of dating because it seemed expected. The young woman who'd convinced herself that deep friendship was enough. Who'd tried to be satisfied with loving Sophia from a careful distance. All of those versions of herself had been real, had been necessary steps on the path to this moment. But this felt like the most authentic version. The woman who could love openly, who could be loved in return, who didn't have to pretend or hide or settle for less than what her heart truly wanted. Hey, Sophia, she called out, pausing in her unpacking. Yeah? Thank you. For what? Maya looked around their apartment, at the evidence of their shared life, Sophia's paintings leaning against the walls, Maya's books scattered on every surface, coffee mugs left on side tables, a life built together in all its beautiful, mundane detail. For seeing me, Maya said simply. For painting me like I was someone worth seeing. For making me brave enough to stop calling this friendship when it was always so much more. Sophia dropped the box she was holding and crossed the room to Maya. cupping her face in paint-stained hands that Maya had learned to love better than her own. "Thank you," Sophia said softly, "for letting me love you exactly as you are, for making me believe that the truest thing about me isn't something to hide." As they kissed in their living room surrounded by boxes and possibilities, Maya realized that the best love stories weren't about dramatic gestures or fairy tale endings. They were about choosing each other every day, about building something, real and lasting, from honesty and courage and the decision to stop pretending that friendship was enough when love was possible. Outside their window, the city hummed with life, full of other people finding their own ways to love and be loved. But inside their small apartment, Maya and Sophia held each other close and knew they'd found something rare and precious. Not just love, but the freedom to love authentically, openly, and without apology. It wasn't a fairy tale ending because it wasn't an ending at all. It was a beginning bright with promise and as endless as their willingness to choose each other, again and again, every ordinary, extraordinary day. The end.